What is up, guys? ZEBEC's hidden switch. The one fee mechanism that could unlock everything. We'll get into it today. Let's cue our guy, Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Boom. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing. Let's go.
Best believe it was Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting. So we binge on our Blackrue Investing. Best believe it was Blackrue Investing. Got course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe it was Blackrue Investing.
What's up, guys? Coming in on a Sunday. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Again, fees are what's going to bring liquidity to ZBCN, the token, and we're going to get into it today. But first here, we have a very, very great breaking news here. We share the screen. Coming from Uphold, we'll get here to Uphold here. Uphold Markets gives the buyback for the quarter for ZBCN, and they say ZBCN's buyback is complete, part of the reoccurring buyback program to reduce circulating supply. Repurchase tokens do not re-enter circulation. So that's coming straight from Uphold, guys. Like that's something. They see it straight from Uphold. You know, Uphold's not going to put themselves out there unless that's true, right? So great stuff there from Uphold. And if you guys see, like, I cannot prevent it today. Like, my one right eye is just really watering. My sinuses are on fire today. So if y'all see that, we're just going to have to work through that today. So let's continue on here. And then on top of that, right, we had a recent post here from Franklin Templeton Digital Assets. If you're not aware, Franklin Templeton created their own digital asset wing after for years being related and connected to Stellar. They created their own digital asset wing. And they recently posted this on July 21st. They say to record a transaction on the blockchain, the AI agent will need to pay in cryptocurrency of the underlying network. For example, to record a transaction on the Solana blockchain, the agent will need to submit in SOL. As agentic payments rise, the demand for the cryptocurrencies of the chain supporting such business could surge. And that's my big, huge point for ZEBEC and how they're going to be crazy amounts of fees coming into ZEBEC, in that as agentic payments rise, demand for cryptocurrencies on the chain supporting such business will surge. So, i.e., to say that more simply, the cryptocurrencies on agentic payments platforms probably will surge, right? And Solana and ZEBEC is built on Solana. This is definitely a place where it can surge. So let's continue here. Creating value for each token holder initially. This will be likely driven by the machine-to-machine micropayments being generated by enterprise software systems. Now, remember, at XRP Las Vegas, Simon told us about the Treasury flywheel. Let's listen to a portion of Simon from XRP Las Vegas here. Let me bring it up and we'll get into it.
Licenses globally. So without that infrastructure and backbone, we wouldn't be able to work together.
Yeah, you mentioned the licensing. Obviously, a huge milestone at the beginning of this year was the passage of the Genius Act, getting regulation around stablecoins in the United States. What did that do for global payments and working with enterprises the way ZEBEC does?
I would say that the Genius Act was a watershed moment for ZEBEC and the stablecoin industry. Then we were talking to enterprise CEOs, trying to explain to them what a stablecoin is. Now we're helping them select the right stablecoin and how to integrate it. I'd say after the summer when the Genius Act passed, we saw a huge change in the number of companies that are calling ZEBEC, trying to get onboarded with ZEBEC. So it's been incredible for our business, and we're excited to see what's next with the Clarity Act as well.
Yeah, that's a very exciting, I guess, prospect. So how do you guys deal with these enterprise consumers who maybe were migrating from like a traditional fintech platform and now they want that real-time settlement on-chain, which you mentioned? What are those conversations like?
We try to make it as easy as possible for the corporate treasury teams, and that's one of the beauties of working with Ripple, is that Ripple Payments is so advanced in how it can connect fiat bank accounts, and I think upwards of 50 currencies. And in seconds, you're minting RLUSD. And from there, that's when ZEBEC's tech picks up the delivery. So through our smart contracts, we can pay RLUSD out in any increment of time to any company or employee around the world. And then on the back end, we have the ZEBEC card suites, which is a MasterCard product that fully supports the XRPL and RLUSD. So when you get paid on Friday, you have the money on your card immediately to go pay your expenses or your bills.
Yeah, super exciting. What about the Ripple ecosystem? We've talked about some of the licensing, some of the enterprise partners. You know, you're saying right before we walked on stage that ZEBEC has been known as a bit of like a baby XRP. What was so complimentary about this ecosystem to you?
I think it really comes down to the culture, right, of ZEBEC and of Ripple. I mean, Ripple has this great connection between traditional finance and Wall Street, which is actually my background from before ZEBEC, but also blockchain technology and, you know, leading edge change. So we're super excited about that. Also, compliance is part of their DNA. I mean, going through an SEC battle for all these years really toughens one. And at ZEBEC, you know, we had to also get our compliance up over the past few years. Last year, we bought a compliance company called GateKnox. We built out our compliance team. We hit our SOC 2. We hit our ISO by the end of the year. We got MICA. And until we had that, we weren't really ready to work like Ripple. But now we're kind of at that level where we're comfortable to do so.
How much easier does that make it for you to work with these clients that you're going after? I know there's a lot of opportunities for things like remittances, you know, cross-border payments in the space as well. How do you look at global adoption?
Compliance is a moat for us, right? I mean, if you're working with a large enterprise, the first question is going to be, what are your compliance standards, right? What is your AML? What is your KYC? We've checked all those boxes now. Now it comes down to which stablecoins are you working with, right? Not all stablecoins are created the same. I'd say RLUSD is probably the premier, most respected institutional grade stablecoin out there. So it's going to be an incredible addition to our portfolio and make sales to these enterprises so much easier.
I think we saw just a flood of enterprises and large institutions look at stablecoins. You know, we've talked a bit about how more regulatory clarity, both from the agencies and at the legislative level, continue to unlock use cases and allow you guys to build new things. Where do you see that heading? Again, without getting into the over-under on the date, what do you think would be unlocked for you guys if we continue to see this focus on regulation and compliance continue to develop?
It builds more trust in the system. And I think really the next leg of growth is going to see corporate balance sheets and treasuries coming on chain. Obviously, that's been a big focus of Ripple's through its own acquisitions. It's something that we're closely monitoring at ZEBEC, because if corporate balance sheets are now held in stablecoins, payroll becomes even that much easier to do at a click of a button. There's no on and off ramping. There's no dealing with banks.
And when we were getting ready,
So that's a major point there. As corporate balance sheets come on chain and you're doing treasury and stable coins, there's no need to on-ramp, right? You're just doing it. You can do the payroll directly from the treasury via stable coins. And this is the big point, the big point of how fees and agentic AI are going to be paramount to ZEBEC in the future when it comes to Clarity and Genius, right? Let's go back and have Simon say that again.
We're going to see corporate balance sheets and treasuries coming on chain. Obviously, that's been a big focus of Ripple's through its own acquisitions. It's something that we're closely monitoring at ZEBEC, because if corporate balance sheets are now held in stablecoins, payroll becomes even that much easier to do at a click of a button. There's no on and off ramping. There's no dealing with banks.
And when we were getting ready to start this discussion today, we talked a little bit about the role that stablecoins and that dollar-denominated treasury plays like in the global economy. How do you look at projection of sort of the U.S., whether you want to call it soft power or monetary influence?
Stablecoins, without a doubt, are one of the biggest drivers of maintaining dollar dominance, right? When you think about it, a stablecoin issuer is naturally a buyer of U.S. treasuries and an exporter of the U.S. dollar. And I think that payroll really unlocks the next leg of that. Because if you're someone that's working abroad outside of the US, let's say you're a developer in Lagos, right, in Nigeria, and you're getting paid in US dollar stablecoins, you are now a customer of the US system, even if the US banking system wasn't able to reach you. And that's what's so exciting about it, because you can technically serve anyone in the world, no matter where they're located.
Yeah, we were talking about, I guess the volatility of the global economy doesn't matter that much until all of a sudden you're dealing with a crisis, and you'd much rather be holding dollars, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So where do we go from here? What kind of other products? You mentioned a card a little bit. Tell me more about the next few months for that.
Right, so I mean, right now we're building out what I would call our own little financial ecosystem, right? We have our payroll on stablecoin, we have a super app that brings the payroll together with our card suite, token trading and staking all in one place. So we're trying to essentially replace the banking system, let you run your entire life on crypto, and then let enterprises unlock the power of stablecoins. Because we know that, in the next 5 years, 10 years, we're going to see stablecoin flows in the trillions and trillions of dollars, and stablecoin payroll will become the default, right? It's just a matter of time, and we're very well positioned for that growth.
Yeah, what about RLUSD specifically? Because I think one of the interesting things that's been happening is everybody's becoming an issuer, right? So what are some of the things that you're hoping to see over the next few years for the Ripple community more broadly, just in terms of projecting out, expanding into these institutional use cases or this projection of the dollar?
Well, I mean, RLUSD is issued by a New York banking charter, backed by Ripple, which is of course supervised by the New York Department of Financial Services, backed one-to-one by cash and treasuries. It doesn't get more transparent than that. But I think what's most exciting for us is what I would call the treasury flywheel associated with RLUSD. If you look back a year ago, it was about a $200 million market cap stablecoin. Now it's eclipsed 1.5 billion. And as more of these treasuries come on chain and start participating in treasury management, custody, and eventually payroll through ZEBEC, there's a multiplier effect throughout the ecosystem. And that's how you're going to see RLUSD really take off and scale.
And that's it right there. The treasury flywheel. We just talked about Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton just said what they said about Solana and agentic AI. Well, there's a company out there, T54. We've talked about them before. You can see their website here, Trusted Agentic Economy. But if you scroll down, and you scroll down to the bottom, you see that it's a X402 XRP Ledger facilitator. Okay, so the goal is for the XRP Ledger, these treasuries, to eventually use agentic AI, and things like T54 will be the facilitator for that, right? Things like ZEBEC will be there involved with the treasury. And once those treasuries are set up, it's a nice flywheel, and that the treasury is doing the investing, the treasury is doing the payroll, the treasury is doing the acquiring, and maybe the acquiring and selling of carbon credits. There's a whole bunch of things that just key off of the treasury. And there are a whole bunch of just fees that are possibly there for ZEBEC to garner, as far as how agentic AI is going to work and use all its fees. ZEBEC will get those fees. The fees will be transitioned and reallocated into ZBCN from the stablecoin. In this case, we think RLUSD, but it could also be USD1. It could also be Circle's USDC. So there are a lot of things there with the treasury flywheel in which fees can come from or go to ZEBEC the token. I just want to remind you guys of this here from their tokenomics that they released in January of 2026. Use of stablecoin balances, which are automatically converted into ZBCN at the time fees are assessed. So if you're doing agentic AI from the treasury to pay payroll, there will be fees there that'll be automatically transferred over from RLUSD to ZBCN. If you're doing something with remittance payments, which Simon also mentioned in that interview there at XRP Las Vegas, and he also mentioned in the previous spaces that MoneyGram would be coming to the ZEBEC Super App. Their fees there are there. So fees are the name of the game here. But don't forget that a large portion of those fees, just like we showed you here in this post from Franklin Templeton, are going to be due to AI agents and agentic AI. Okay. Now, if we're going to get a little bit deeper into the post that Franklin Templeton made about agentic AI, the killer use case for blockchain and crypto, they mentioned the 10 largest stocks are now AI aligned and now make up almost 40% of the index is total market capitalization. And they're talking about the S&P 500 right here. So the top 10 largest stocks in the S&P 500 are AI aligned and make up almost 40% of the index total market cap of the total market cap. Okay. So compared to just 25% during the dot-com era and 15% in 1980. Institutional investors in particular view artificial intelligence as a structural mega trend as they allocate capital heavily to AI infrastructure, data centers, and semiconductor stocks. Okay. Agents can interact directly with external software systems and code repositories. This is a recasting of the role of AI. By 2028, 38% of the organizations report that they will have AI agents as team members alongside humans collaborating on driving productivity and innovation. And that's already happening right now. I can assure you right now, just being in that area as a coder, we use agentic AI, right? Agentic AI helps with our coding. It helps make suggestions about, okay, should code be here, there, or should you make this? It's not always right, right? But this is happening right now. You don't even have to think about by 2028. It's happening now, right? And 38% is a low estimate, in my opinion, right? But let's continue on here. Super app, shout out to JV. He's the BD of ZEBEC. 10K downloads of the super app. This was just posted July 24, 2026. And if we're to go back to 2025 here, May 6, 2025, USDC is built for fast, borderless, and programmable payments. And X402 protocol elegantly simplifies real-time monetization by removing friction of registrations, auth, or complex signatures. Together, they unlock exciting new use cases for micropayments, for AI agents, and apps. So again, this has been a thing. We've just heard about it more and more in 2026 here. But this goes all the way back to 2025, all the way, right? Like last year. But this has been in the works for multiple years now. And as much as RLUSD is affected, so will be USDC. Okay. Now, just to remind you here, this is a post from All Unity. All Unity is helping ZEBEC, of course, with the All Unity stablecoin, Euro AU. So not only do we have RLUSD, USDC, we also have Euro AU, EURAU. Okay. Let's listen here. And this is a post that All Unity is retweeting from Cloudflare. The agentic economy is arriving faster than you think. With Cloudflare launching its monetization gateway, a major shift is underway. Over 20% of the web is getting ready to enable micropayments for AI agents via stablecoins. But how do we take agentic commerce from a tech trend to a mainstream global adoption? Our CTO and COO, Peter Grosskopf, recently sat down with Block Stories and Lucas Shen from Merit Systems to share stablecoin operators' perspective. Okay. Now, we can read a little bit of this, but I'd just like to remind you that Peter sat down with Simon at XRP Las Vegas, and he spoke about All Unity and what was going on with ZEBEC and that. Let me just remind you of that. We'll bring up that post right now.
You need to be available where all,
I know you made a big announcement this week as one of your wallet partners. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that for us, naturally, availability is what makes the difference. You need to be available on all channels that are available where stablecoins are needed. You need to be available where all, customers are connected via wallets or wallet infrastructure. And yeah, having such a thing together with Privy and then the entrance into Stripe and Bridge naturally is for us a big step because it opens up the channel to a wide adoption of customers connected and ultimately accessibility of a stablecoin is what makes the difference.
I know you made a big announcement this week as one of your wallet partners.
So right there, right? And we're getting right here with Stripe and Privy and All Unity. We're having that conversation here as well, right? And throw in Cloudflare. Like we're not going to go too deep into this article. We just understand here the big point to take away is over 20% of the web is getting ready to enable micropayments for AI agents via stablecoins. Okay. And I'll just remind you here, post from June of 2025, Euro AU benefit payroll and benefits now live on Stellar. So ZEBEC is working with them to do that. Well, this is pretty much enabled by micropayments. And I think Simon got into this in the spaces, how micropayments made this possible, because this wasn't possible before with the fees, the large amount of fees. But since you can do micropayments now via ZEBEC, Stellar, All Unity, this is now possible. A major milestone for stablecoin utility in Europe. All Unity Stable has selected ZEBEC Enterprise to power Europe's first on-chain government benefits distribution program using Euro AU on Stellar org. This program brings regulated digital euros into employee benefits and enterprise payments, with plans to expand payroll and workforce payouts across All Unity's ecosystem. So this is the kind of the, if you will, the alpha or the first program in which they do the benefits, but plans are to expand into payroll and workforce payouts. Very, very huge there. So now we've gone from RLUSD, USDC, Euro AU, and we've connected ZEBEC to All Unity. We've connected them to Stellar, which we know they have a partnership with, and of course with Ripple and the RLUSD. Okay. Now, shout out to Finance Bull. He put out a nice little post where he combined and talked about Stellar and ZBCN. This might be a little hard for you guys to see. I'll just read it out for you. I'll try to expand it over here, though, too, so you can see it. Partnership, ZEBEC powers payroll. Stellar settles the payments. Built for global businesses, powered by stablecoins. Employers fund payroll. ZEBEC automates payouts. Payments use Stellar. Workers receive this instantly, right? Real world use case, cross-border payroll, instant contractor payments, holder spend stablecoins, cash out locally. Who benefits? Global companies, payroll providers, fintech platforms, freelancers and workers. Benefits both ZEBEC and XEN or XLM, excuse me. More product adoption, higher revenue, greater ecosystem utility, potential buybacks, right? More network activity, more transaction fees, higher wallet growth, higher payment volume. Okay, shout out to the Finance Bull for that. Now, bringing Stripe and Privy back into this, Ramp is launching 2 new stablecoin products powered by Stripe, Privy, and Bridge. Access 24/7 bank-funded payroll, bank-funded stablecoin payments with Ramp Bill Pay, hold, grow, and move stablecoins with Ramp stablecoin accounts. Now, one thing I'd just like to remind you of is all the companies that we talked about here are involved with the X402 Foundation, right? Recently, I did a show here. Definitely, you guys should check it out. It's in my video section. X402 Infrastructure Dream Team covers how Quant, Ripple, and Near joined the X402 Foundation, right? And if we go over here, you can see that here, right? But all the companies we were just talking about, the Solanas, the Stripes, the Stellars, right? Solanas, all of these guys are aligned into the X402 Foundation, and ZEBEC is also aligned with X402. You can see via Stellar and also via Solana. So, and Circle, of course, right? All of the players are here. Cloudflare, we just mentioned. Like, so this is an inevitability, right, guys? This is not something like, oh, okay, X402 is like a fad, like metaverse or something like that, right? This is something that is going to help payments move around the world more efficiently, more expediently, with more traceability, with more auditing capabilities. This is the future, and we're seeing it play out right in front of our eyes. Now, the thing that is making us skittish is the way that price is right now. All the FUD that's being spread around. Forget the FUD. Forget all of the crap that's being spread around. This is the future right in front of your eyes. For me personally, I want to buy now while all the infrastructure is being set up and put into place, because I know eventually price will reflect this infrastructure that is being put in place, right, by all these various companies, right, all of which have connections to ZEBEC, which is crazy to think about, right, where, you know, we're giving ZEBEC all this heat, and we know for sure, and we've seen for sure that they connected to these companies and their product is being used. And they have their their super app out. It's being downloaded and it's available for use now, right? Of course, they're expanding onto it. They're adding things like MoneyGram and remittance payments and things like that. But they have a workable, usable product that is being used around the world today, not tomorrow, not, you know, once the Clarity Act is passed, it's today. It's being used today. So again, this is why I'm still high on the project. Let me make sure I got everything before I go into the comments here. Okay, so now we'll get into the comments here. Yeah, all the things that I'm still very, very, very high on the project. We'll answer the comments and any of your questions, and you know, like a normal show, we'll go until those comments and questions are done, right? Jason List, these are good news. What's up, Jetpack in the house? Salute, salute. What up, peeps? King Pound, what's good, everybody? My brother Rue, my man. Let's hit it one time for good brother King Pound.
My man.
Hey, ZEBEC is slapping the competition, in my opinion.
What is the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
Indeed. Let's continue on here. Noob Smoke. We're going lower. This next leg gonna be brutal because there's not enough volume, but creeping up. They're waiting for exit liquidity. Well, I don't know about all of that. Again, if we look at payroll and payments and how agentic AI is going to help payroll and payments, people need to be paid. People are always sending payments. This is going to be more efficient, more, just more efficient. This is better for businesses to use ZEBEC and stablecoins to do this, right? So the liquidity may not be there right now, right? but liquidity will be there once things like the Clarity Act are passed, once these legal and compliance loopholes are cleared, then the liquidity is going to come in, right? Just because retail liquidity is not about retail liquidity, and it's never really been about retail liquidity. It's been about enterprises and being able to make things more cost effective and efficient for enterprises, right? Let's go back to the X402 Foundation and who's all involved in this, right? Amazon Web Services, American Express, MasterCard, Visa, MoonPay, Monad, Google, Fiserv, Coinbase, Ripple. It's always been about payments and these higher level payment firms, right? It's always been about enterprise, right? I know like people try to kind of hype it up and make you think, retail needs to do this and retail needs to do that. But it's always been about enterprises and how they can make the dollar and things more efficient with their fees and how they can get to a bigger bottom line. That's really it, right? Because what is this going to do? This treasury flywheel, ultimately, it's going to make it so businesses have a bigger bottom line, and it's going to cut HR jobs. HR jobs are going to be cut, and that service is now going to be automated. We've seen this over time with many different things, like bank tellers. There's no use really that much longer for bank tellers, where back in the 90s, 80s, early 2000s, before ATMs, before online banking, you needed a bank teller to do all of this, right? This is just a further reduction of human workers needed with agentic AI and AI agents. You now cut your HR department in half and you automate all of their tasks, right? This is what ZEBEC is doing. This is what Ripple is doing with the future of what they're doing right now. So when you look at liquidity, the best thing that's going to bring liquidity here is the furthering of the Genius Act, because remember, the Genius Act goes into full effect January 18th, 2027, and the passing of the Clarity Act. Whenever the Clarity Act gets passed, I know Donald Trump said he wanted it done last week. Didn't happen last week, but I'm fully confident that it happens before August 12th. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on that. Clarity comes before August 12th. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on that. XRP is going to bring profit to Ripple. Okay, so this is one of the non-believers in XRP right now, right? So if you don't believe that XRP is going to bring profit to Ripple, then why are there all of these XRP ETFs around the world? Let's go with Bitcoin as well, right? There are all of these Bitcoin ETFs, but people keep saying that Bitcoin's going to crash and Bitcoin, Michael Saylor's not going to make it. Meanwhile, BlackRock, Fidelity, all these big companies have Bitcoin ETFs. Is Bitcoin really not going to make it, or is it just a bearish time for Bitcoin and it'll be back? That's the question you have to ask yourself. I know that BlackRock doesn't have an XRP ETF right now, but Bitwise does. There are a lot of other big VC firms that have XRP ETFs, right? So you're calling all of them wrong, and XRP is just this retail money drain. I think it's a little bit more than that, right? What's up, Underdog Research Channel? Finally caught Blackrue on time. What's up, brother? Appreciate you being in the house today. We'll definitely highlight his channel. And yes, definitely subscribe to our brother Underdog Research Channel. Some of the best research around. And I don't think I've doxed him by saying what he said. He said in his videos, bro does forensic analysis for a living. This is his realm, right? We still have naysayers. Let's freaking go, ZEBEC. Yes, indeed. Pain before the gain. I'm waiting for the next leg down. Yeah, if there is a next leg down, I was looking at this, right? I was looking at this. Shout out to the Patreon. We have weekly open mic nights. We had open mic night last night. You know, shout out. We had our brother Shook Focus Digital in there as well. Definitely check out Shook Focus's channel and his Patreon as well, guys. But let's scroll down here. I was looking at the Bitcoin chart, and one thing that really stuck out to me on the weekly. So let's look at the weekly here. Let's look at the weekly on the RSI specifically. Let's blow it up. So on the RSIs for the weekly, right? Every 4 years, you had it touch a low. Well, we've touched that low. 2018, 2022, 2026. And here's 2015, right? So every 4 years, 15 plus 4 is 19, 18, right? 18 plus 4, 2022. Another 4 years, 2026. Are we really going to go down again past this low that we've had here? I don't think so. I think the bottom is in. I don't think we're going to hit another low. I know a lot of people were saying that we might go to 40. I think this might be it, guys. I don't think we're going to go too much lower than this. Maybe we get 55, possibly. But at this point, I doubt it. I really think we're pretty much done, right? And again, if you think that Bitcoin is going to go to 250K at some point, what's the difference between 64 and 55? Not too much. It's not too much of a difference at the end of the day. So I hope you guys are able to see that chart. I'll go back again because I don't know if I was sharing that. Let me go back to the weekly. Here, yeah. So with the RSI, we got 4 dips down, right? Here's 26 February, June 22, December or November 18, April 15. So the bottoms, as far as RSI, seems like they've been reached. So everyone thinking we're going to go past that bottom again, I find that unlikely. I find that unlikely. Maybe we get 55 from 64, but I don't think we're going too much lower here. I think the bottom, that 59, the bottom was in. It's in. And we're done. Let's see here. I don't know about clarity passing. Yeah, I'm saying we get that pass before August 12th. I love it. People start to panic thinking if they sell, they won't lose all the money. Guess what? I'll buy it from you now and sell it back to you when it goes to discovery. Yep. And that's the panic factor. You're right. Star that, Brandon White. That's the panic factor. People are like, "Oh, I'm going to lose all my money. Let me sell before." And they let FOMO, but like fear FOMO. right? Deny everything they've seen with this company. Ripple, All Unity, Stellar, World Liberty Financial, all of that, right? And now Robinhood's flying sky high. But remember, years ago, Robinhood was villainized for what they did with GameStop, right? And their stock went down to $8 a share. Who remembers that? Who was here for when Robinhood was the big villain of the market because of what they did with GameStop? And everybody's like, I'm done with Robinhood. Robinhood was toast. Their stock went all the way down to $8. And look at them now. Over $100 stock. It's like at 96 now. I thoroughly believe it'll be way more than that, and it'll eventually do a stock split when that'll happen. Who knows? But they were as high as 130. Shout out to the Patreon. We got into Hood stock at like $34 like a year ago, and we're still holding strong. But yeah, like it's crazy. Regardless of clarity, the world is still moving as if clarity had already passed. And shout out to you, JetPoint. That's another fact, right? Start that comment. All of the things that people are doing with these agentic AI and these AI agents, just case in point, looking at Robinhood and what they're doing with Robinhood chain, right? They're moving as if clarity has already passed. That's a stellar point from you there. You know, they got in the Guinness Book of World Records for AI agent transactions. They have their own blockchain, which is out-earned and outperformed many a chain right now. We just go look at some of the data on it right now. The site has some good data on it. Let's look at it. Stock surging on Robinhood chain, now greater than 4% of all volume. Robinhood chain is the fastest EVM chain to 100 million transactions. They're at 147 million. Way over Base, way over ZK Sync, way over Binance, way over Linea, way over Arbitrum, even though they're built on Arbitrum. So that kind of, that's kind of, you're kind of baking the system a little bit there. But yeah, they've flown through other transactions when it comes to this. Robinhood's prediction market revenue is expected to outpace crypto in Q2. Again, Robinhood stock just under $100, right? Shout out to the Patreon, right? So Robinhood's killing the game right now. They're straight killing the game right now. Like they're dominating. But don't be fooled by the whole Robinhood meme coin trap. We got into that on the Patreon too. Shout out to the Patreon. Can ZEBEC price goes to 6 to 7 cents realistically in 2027? I think that's realistic. I think ZEBEC will break their all-time high. Their all-time high, according to CryptoRank.io, is a little over 5 cents. And what that equates to in market cap is that they would be like a $5 billion market cap. Again, once we get to past some of this regulational clarity, or once we get some of the regulatory clarity, and ZEBEC can actually operate in the US and give real-time payroll streaming to some of these companies in the US, that's when we start seeing lots of liquidity flow into this token. So just to show you here, all-time high was in 2022, 5 cents. I think they break that. Is it 27 that they break that in? Once the regulatory clarity is here, once Genius goes into full effect on January 18th, 2027, that might, middle of 27 might be the time to look for when it comes to coins like ZEBEC. I know people don't want to necessarily hear that, but almost feel like we were in January of 2026 and here we are in July right now. Like 7 months is going like that, right? And sooner or later we wake up in 2 days, 7 months will be gone by, and we'll be in 27 talking about this with ZEBEC, past its all-time high, if you get what I'm saying, right? So you're Brandon White's thinking 2028. Well, 2027, 2028, around there, right? I really think middle of 2027, in my opinion. What's up, Rise Above in the house? Patreon member in the house. Shout out to Recrew. Stablecoins, ZEBEC. Let's see here. Stablecoins, ZEBEC network is the best position to capitalize off of this narrative between its payment stack, partnerships, and super app. ZBCN is number one. I agree with that. And I continue to say it, and I'll continue to beat this drum. And somebody else will say it next week and pretend like I haven't said it or something like that. But ZEBEC is number one in taking the value from these stable coins and actually putting it in the token. I don't see any other coin doing that to the level that ZEBEC is doing it, right? They're literally taking some of the value in these stable coins and putting it in their token, right? And fees has been the whole argument, the whole thing with stable coins this entire way. Because if you guys look at the open USD stablecoin standard, the whole reason that this coin exists is that they could possibly have fees stay with these 140 companies instead of having the fees go to Circle or Tether or USD1. The whole point is fees. Stablecoins are rapidly being adopted for their speed and programmability, with transaction volume approaching that of the ACH network. Yeah, definitely look that up. Stablecoins are very rapidly outpassing the old ACH system. Definitely look that up. At the same time, businesses still face significant hurdles. Fees to mint and redeem most stablecoins are prohibitively expensive at larger volumes. Companies aren't always able to benefit from the revenues earned on relying on the underlying reserves. The whole thing is fees, about fees and how and where they're going to go, where they get propagated in the stack, all of this. It's all about fees. And ZEBEC being basically a bank, a neobank, all of those fees they're endowing into their token, and they're going to win. They're going to win with that. Hands down. I'm bullish on ZEBEC, but I think it could go lower to 15 or 14. I don't know. It might go a little bit lower, but I don't know what you mean by 15 or 14. We are here. Keep buying. Indeed. Can't wait. Yes, I know, Brandon. Let's see. People who sold just to get a better position, I feel. I get that, but then what if right behind them, ZEBEC announces some real big enterprise news, like I showed you guys before. They follow NTT data now. If they announce something going on with NTT data, that could be very, very huge. And if the price spikes in ZEBEC and these dudes are trying to play I'm trying to get a lower price game and lose, well, that's on them, right? But I clearly think ZEBEC has some more stuff in the queue, right? They definitely have more deals in the queue that they haven't announced to us. They've signed multiple NDAs, and I know NDAs aren't just necessarily the thing, because a lot of times you just have to sign an NDA just to even speak to a company. But I do think a lot of those NDAs are going to come into fruition with deals for ZEBEC, one of which being with NTT Data, right? They've also spoken to Google. You got Julian Matkins here that is following them. And very interestingly enough, right? What did we just look at as far as the X402 Foundation is concerned? X402 Foundation, Google is a member of X402 Foundation. So, like, literally all the members of X402 Foundation, ZEBEC, not all of them, but a lot of them, ZEBEC has relationships with or talking with. Coinbase Ventures helped found ZEBEC, right? Circle helped found ZEBEC as well. They've spoken to Google. Their cards are built on MasterCard, right? I haven't heard them speak to the MoonPay, but I've seen a lot of different connections to MoonPay and ZEBEC. Of course, we know they're partnered with Ripple. They're built on Solana. So that is what it is there. You know what I mean? Same for the people who are selling now. Number 2, tokenized real world assets. Plume, most compliant and already has tokenized assets on chain. Only came out in 2025. Partners with Wisdom Tree and utilizes. Partners with Securitize and Wisdom Tree, plus working with CFTC and SEC. Yeah, Plume is one that I think finally, eventually, it might be ready for people to purchase, right? Because they had a lot of supply that they were holding on to, and I think they finally got rid of a lot of that supply. Shout out to Underdog Research Channel. You guys come on over to my channel, go to the homepage, and mosey down. So, yep, here we go. Sorry. You come on over to my channel. Shout out to the channel here. We're up to 9,700 and change subscribers. We're on our way to 10K. Definitely like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you mosey all the way down here, you'll see Underdog Research Channel. Definitely go check out his videos on Plume. Definitely go check out Indigo. Check out Future. Check out Crypto Crossroads Show. So let's see, which one did Underdog do most recently? Okay, Technicals of Clarity and Policy. Very banger of a show. $1 trillion real world assets explained. So definitely go check these out on Underdog's channel here, guys. Give me a second here. One second here. Like I said, my allergies are killing me today. My apologies. Let's continue. I sold a bunch at the top on the first shoulder a month ago. People said I was stupid. No, that was a good deal. Nice move, bro. Yeah, if you guys look at the chart will tell you when you need to do that stuff. AI agents banker using talk or text prompts for transactions already taken over on Base and Robinhood. first of its kind and still building. Yeah, Baker is doing some nice things, right? They're also on Base and Robinhood. Bankers really slept on out here. What's up, Sharmizzle? Rue Crew checking in for the one. Let's continue on here. Shout out to our guy E in the house. What's good, fam? I haven't stopped DCAing. Let's go. All right, guys. I want to get out of here. I want to make this show under an hour. I see our shout out to Moonfeather in the house here. Happy Sunday, Rue and crew. We're out here on a Sunday. Happy I caught your live, Rue. Happy you caught it as well, Mooney. Definitely check out Moonfeather's channel. If you mosey on over to my channel, you see here down at the bottom of suggested channels, we have Underdog, Shook Focus, Max, and Moonfeather. See what Moonfeather has done here recently. July's final astrological live stream. And just check Mooney out. You know, JP Morgan says, I'm gonna mess up the quote. Millionaires don't do astrology, billionaires do. And I find that that's true. Astrology is just another tool along with the charts that I use in my investing journey, and it helps me out tons. And Moonfeather's like the chief of astrology out here. Definitely check out her channel if you guys haven't already. What's up, Crypto Shard in the house? That's why King Pound, scare money never makes money. Indeed. Let's see here. What's up, Joey in the house? Well, Black Prince of Crypto, always crushing it. Appreciate it. What's up, John 316? Hi, Rue. I asked Claude AI if ZBCN could get the 2 cents, and it said no. Your thoughts? No, I definitely think ZBCN can get to 2 cents. Again, that's only a $2 billion market cap. We definitely have, freaking meme coins getting to 2 billion market cap. All we need is the clarity. All we need is the genius. All we need is for those laws to take place. And then we're going to see the institutional and enterprise money come into crypto like crazy, right? Right now, things like Robinhood are getting some retail money in with meme coins and things like that. But institutional money is where it's really going to happen at, right? What's up, Tony S in the house? What's up, Flow State Indigos? What's up, Throbbing Lantern in the house? All right, guys, we're going to get out of here to get this just under an hour. Appreciate you guys so much for coming through on a Sunday. And thanks for working with me. My whole, the allergies are dealing with me over here, but we're getting it done. If you made it to the end, definitely put in AI agent in the chat, and I'll know that you made it to the end of the video. So once the live stream ends, please comment AI agent. It helps spread the video around, and we're out of here. Peace.